Is this a colony of Dana? That's what I want to know.
Oh my God, you can't say that.
Hey, let me put it this way. Is this a colony of Scotch Dana?
Oh my God.
You've just stepped into Damn It Jim, the podcast. And now, from the broadcast studios high atop Damn It Jim, the university, here are your hosts Dana Smith and Dan Kelzaretta.
Thanks, Eddie. And for those of you that didn't notice, we do have a new professional announcer working for us, our man Eddie in the booth, taking care of us here and also guiding us through production.
Yeah, Dana, Eddie attends Damn It Jim, the university, the School of Communications. He was listening to our podcast and he said, hey, it sounds like you guys need like an intro guy. I was like, yeah, Eddie, we'll do that. Yeah, sounds great. But yeah, welcome aboard, Eddie.
Okay, Dan, let's jump in. We're starting something new. It's Star Trek Next Generation. We're going to pick the worst ones. So we're starting off with Season 7, Episode 14, Sub Rosa.
Yeah, this should be fun, Dana, to just choose bad episodes, you know? Exactly. Sorry, Dan, I still have this cold. You know, when I was in Colorado a few weeks ago, I got sick, and this cold has not given up, Dana. It's been like 10 days now, you know?
Wow. Well, that sucks. Yeah, I was fighting something.
Well, you told me about some drug you were taking that you bought on the corner somewhere. What was the name of that stuff again?
It's called Oomka.
See, that Dana, that sounds like something you would buy on a corner. You know what I mean? Hey, I got something for you here. What is it? I got some Oomka. Oh, God, that doesn't sound good to me, Dana.
I got the one that's a hot drink, and they are not a sponsor.
So Dana, you're mixing this with like vodka or something, right? I mean, come on. This is not real Oomka.
The day formula, just throw this out, has citric acid, ethyl alcohol, maltodextrin, natural flavor, silica, turmeric color, not turmeric, but the color of turmeric.
Right.
And the night formula also has honey, Lu Hun Gao.
That sounds like the guy who sold it to you, Dana.
Yeah.
So Dana, from the ingredients you just said, okay, it sounds like if I took some orange juice, okay, threw a couple of Sudafed in there, a shot of vodka. So it sounds like a screwdriver, Dana, with some Sudafed. I mean, that's what it sounds like, and a little bit of coloring, you know?
Yeah, and I sleep really well at night. So
well, yeah, of course you would, Dana, because it's like suppressing your breathing. It's. I wouldn't take too much of that stuff if I were you.
Hey, it works. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, you might need North Shore adult diapers if you take too much, because you might not wake up. And not that they're a sponsor of ours either. I mean, they used to be.
Speaking of North Shore diapers, why don't we get on with this episode, Dan? So
yeah, let's do it. Because I need to go take some Oomka and then go pass out somewhere. Oomka. That just does not sound right to me.
So the show starts off at a funeral, Dan.
Yeah, I felt like my funeral, actually, the way that I'm feeling today, but okay.
So it's Beverly Crusher's grandmother has passed away, but she was on a colony called the Caldosa colony.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was the Oomka colony. That's what killed her. She was fine, Dana. She was totally fine until she took the Oomka. Here, Granny, take some Oomka.
You seem like you got some sniffles. Take some Oomka. Yeah.
But make sure you sign the will that I've got here in front of you. Do you notice, though, like, here's this woman. They're having a funeral for her, right?
Yeah.
And Picard looked totally bored. Like, why am I even standing here? Did you notice that?
Half the crew's there. You know, I mean, so who's flying the ship?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Was Worf there? I didn't notice Worf down there.
I don't know.
I don't think he attends human funerals.
Yeah. It's like Klingons just eat their dead, don't they?
I think that's what they do, yeah.
So he'd be like opening the coffin and eating grandma.
Do some Worf for me. But this is what I want you to say. I need Granny marinated in Oomka. That's what I want to hear you say as Worf.
I need Granny marinated in Oomka for a proper Klingon funeral.
That's pretty good.
Well, as they're attending the funeral, this guy walks by the casket and drops a flower on it. And this seems to kind of unsettle Beverly Crusher. And that's kind of how the show starts.
Yeah, but we also have this preacher, right?
Yeah.
His face, Dana. Have you ever looked at the rear end of a pig, Dana? That's what this guy's. He looked like Pig Butt Face Man to me. I mean, it was the weirdest. It was the weirdest looking face, you know?
I must not have been paying attention. I didn't catch that. I got the governor, his face.
Wasn't that the same guy?
I don't know. Was it? I wasn't really paying attention. These, I mean.
Well, how much Oomka did you take before watching this episode? I don't know. Maybe it was the governor. Maybe that's who I'm talking about. But I think they both had the same kind of face.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, it's the pig butt face people.
Then Beverly gets talked to by a couple of people, and Dan, I think Caldosa colony was settled by people from Scotland.
Well, yeah, that's what they say, Dana.
Is that what they said?
Oh
I really got to pay attention to the show.
Remember the Picard's talking to, I think he is like the governor of the colony. They're like, yeah, we got the cornerstone from like Edinburgh or something. Remember he says that?
Yeah.
Did you watch the episode? Usually it's me who's not watching the episode.
Well, I was having problems with my TV. I couldn't pause and I couldn't rewind.
What?
Yeah.
Did you pay your Paramount bill this month, Dana?
Yeah, my remote, supposed to be simple to use.
Well, for most people, Dana.
I've used it before,
Oh.
But I went to pause and it wouldn't pause. So I was fighting with that. And then I was trying to rewind and it wouldn't rewind.
Did you replace the batteries?
Batteries?
Does it have a little crank on the side that you're supposed to crank it up?
I just thought they just lasted forever. Because when they die, I just throw them away and get a new one.
Get a new television.
Yeah. But so they do have a Scottish background. I remember him saying something about something from Scotland. And I wanted to rewind, but I couldn't.
Yeah, but Dana, why? Why Scotland? I mean, it's rainy, it's cold. You got fucking bagpipes everywhere, Dana, which would be annoying. I mean, wouldn't you rather have like the South Pacific, with some tropical drinks, some nude beaches or something,
Well, I think that's why they moved, is this was supposed to be a better climate for them and everything,
But they said they wanted to make it just like Scotland. Like, what? Is this a colony of Dana? That's what I want to know.
Oh my God, you can't say that.
Okay, let me put it this way. Is this a colony of Scotch Dana?
Oh my God.
But Dana, here's I won't put that in, but here's the other question I have. This is supposed to be Scotland, right? Like just like Scotland.
Yes.
Where are the sheep, Dana?
Hiding in the fields.
They have to be, right? Because they're like, get away from me. Was that a Scottish sheep, Dana? I can't even tell.
I think it was pretty good. So Beverly has a conversation with Troy, and they go to her grandmother's house where Beverly talks about her grandmother, and she was a healer like Beverly. So then we see the governor, Pig Butt Face Man, ask Picard for some help with their weather control infusion system.
Yeah, so already we know that's going to come up again, right? I mean, they're not subtle in this episode, Dana.
So then Beverly stays in the house after Troy leaves, and Beverly just makes herself at home, by the way. She wraps herself in a shawl and she's looking at books and stuff. And then this guy comes in, he blows out the candle that Beverly had lit. And she comes down and says, who are you? And get out of the house. And then he's like, I was your grandmother's helper. He goes, I was the one who took care of the building and everything. And it goes on and on.
Hold on a second. His name is Quint, right?
Yeah.
Is that a real Scottish name, Quint?
I don't know, but it's the same as the captain from Jaws.
I was going to ask you if that was it. Wasn't it Quint?
Yeah. So maybe he's his great grandson.
Right, and that's why he doesn't want to go near the water. I think he mentions that in the episode.
But he's like, that candle is the root of all evil. You got to get it away, throw it away. You do something, but get it away.
Jeez, that's one nasty candle, apparently.
Yeah, so Beverly gets real mad at him, basically throws him out of the house.
Right.
Later, in her room on the ship, she's got the candle there.
Yeah.
She gets visited by an entity that seems intent on seeing her naked.
Yeah, well, again, I could not believe where this episode was going, Dana.
It pulls the blanket off of her, and then it like starts pulling at the nightgown that she's wearing and exposes her shoulder.
Has she started reading Granny's diaries yet at this point?
She was reading that when she fell asleep.
Yeah, it was like, Lady Granny's lover or something. It was all these, I mean, you couldn't pause it. I paused it and I can zoom in on it too. Do you want to know what I can't even say what the diary said, Dana.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So she later explains to Troy that there was this presence in her room who was running his hands over her skin, and she's excited about it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
She explains how he knew exactly how she wanted to be touched.
Was this a softcore porn episode?
I don't know why you wanted to do this as one of the worst. I was right at this point. I'm thinking this is going to be one of the best. And so then she explains that her grandma wrote very erotic passages about her lover.
So hold on a second here. Hold on. Granny's 100 years old when she dies, right?
Yeah.
This guy, I mean, we don't know yet how old he is, but younger considerably. I think we learn later he's like 30, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And Beverly's like all thrilled by it. I mean, I think she's happy that her grandma had a nice sex life and stuff, but I mean, you don't want to read the details about anybody like that, Well, okay, maybe, I'm wrong there, but later, the caretaker, Ned Quint, explains the house is haunted and the candle that Beverly took is the ghost's packageway.
Packageway? What?
He's got a packageway he wants to deliver.
In Scotland, we deliver packageways. Is that a packageway in me pants, or are you just happy to see me? What would the name of that delivery service be, Dana?
Big packages are us. I don't know.
Their mottos: we come fast. I don't know.
Okay. So later, the caretaker, Ned Quint, explains the house is haunted.
And it's got a shark. There's a shark in the house. The eyes. They're black eyes. Eyes like the devil.
Now you're doing a pirate. Oh, you're killing me.
We're going to need a bigger house. We're going to need a bigger candle. None of that makes any sense, really. But
oh, my God. Let me try this again.
Yeah, maybe we should. Yeah.
So later, the caretaker, Ned Quint, explains that the house is haunted and the candle that Beverly took is the ghost's passageway.
Oh, passageway. That makes more sense than packageway, Dana.
Just a little. And then they see that there's like storms over the colony, like a violent thunderstorm.
Yeah, because didn't they say something about the weather thing wasn't working or whatever?
And Ned says, the ghost is the reason for the storms. And back on the ship, Data and Geordi come up with a plan to stabilize the weather, doing something with a, photon torpedo or something blasted at the planet. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, it was a beam. So Quint knew that this was a ghost.
Yeah.
But Quint was Granny's caretaker.
Took care of the house and the property, yeah.
But not Granny.
Apparently not. Granny was taken care of, yeah.
By the ghost.
And maybe that's why Quint was so upset about it, because he wanted to take care of Granny.
Well, I'm sure that's it, yeah.
Here I am, a living, breathing man. I can get an erection as fast as any ghost.
And faster than most sheep. Not all, mind ye, but most. That doesn't even sound Scottish.
So Beverly goes back to her grandmother's house, and the room is covered with her grandmother's favorite flowers, the one that was put on the grave.
Like full. Like the whole room has flowers all over it.
Every space, yeah. To me, this is starting to play out like a cheap mystery / ghost story. Because, it's like music's all kind of like mysterious and stuff.
/ romance novel.
The ghost calls her.
Beverly.
That's good. Yeah.
Gave myself a chubby just saying it.
So she says she's going to call the Enterprise. And when she goes to contact the Enterprise, the ghost knocks the communicator out of her hands. But then she looks strange, like she's having convulsions.
You know what she needs, Dana? She needs some Umpqua. Is it Umpqua? Was that what it was called again?
Umka.
Umka.
So then the ghost tells her his life story, that he was born in 1647.
Beverly, I was born in 1647, and I had sex with all the women in your family, Beverly. And then I said, Granny. I don't remember her name, so I called her Granny Beverly. Would you like to play my bagpipes? I mean, Dana, look, that dialogue was better than like 90% of what we heard in this episode.
Oh, you're killing me. So, just like you're doing, I mean, he talks all like deep and sexy, and he
Right.
explains that he's been part of her family for all this time. And Beverly keeps asking, "What's happening to me?" Maybe she should have been asking, "Why can't I get better scripts than this?"
Dana, when they were, come on, okay, this is season 7. It's the last season, and it's halfway through the last season, right? Next Generation had some wonderful classic episodes.
Oh yeah.
And then they get this script. The first thing that comes to their mind must be something like, "You're fucking kidding me, right?" You know?
Yeah. And on the bridge, there's fog.
Yeah, Dana, what? There's fog on the bridge.
Of course, there's nothing that Data and Geordi can do that's going to make things work. They realize it's something to do with the station, and so they're going to go check that out.
You mean the weather control station?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go there, and Ned's there, and he's trying to shut down the weather control station. He goes, "I've got to stop this. Otherwise, the ghost is going to be," and all of a sudden he gets shocked, and it gets thrown back. He tumbles down the steps, and Data checks him, and he's dead.
Come on, Dana. They didn't even call like the freaking, med bay. They didn't call. Who's the doctor on the ship? I can't even remember. Oh, it's Crusher. Yeah, that's
Crusher. Beverly Crusher.
Can we call Crusher? I'm sorry. She's getting by a ghost right now. Can you leave a message? Don't answer the phone, Beverly.
So they determine that whatever killed him seems to be from the weather station.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, they're in the weather station. He's pulling stuff apart in the weather station. There's a big flash. He gets thrown back. That's probably part of the weather station that killed him. Do you think Umka would have cured him if he had some what is it called again? Umka?
Umka, oompity doo. I've got a cold and so do you.
Dana, I have a question for you. Do they make suppository Umka, or is it only oral? Because maybe the suppository get to you faster. You know what I mean?
I have not delved that deeply into it. I saw that they had the stuff you can pour and drink, pour into hot water, and I just went for that.
Okay, and it doesn't say fill enema bag, 1, fill enema bag 2,
No.
Insert tube in rectal orifice. You sure? You sure didn't say that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Beverly goes back to her grandmother's home to talk to the ghost, and the ghost, whose name is Ronan, talks all breathy as you have demonstrated,
Mm-hmm.
and he asks her to light the candle. Is that a euphemism?
Beverly, light my candle.
And then blow it out.
Over and over. And then once again, this dialogue that we're coming up with, 100 times better than what was in this episode, Dana.
So he tells her that without the candle, he loses his energy.
Oh, well, she's going to want to keep that thing lit. 'Cause, she's all in on him now, right? 100%.
Big way. Yeah, 110. Yeah. And he kisses her, and she's drugged.
Yeah.
She's her eyes are closed. She's touching her lips and stuff.
Originally, I don't know if you read this, but the actor they wanted for Ronan, but he had other commitments, Bill Cosby, because he had a lot of experience, apparently, Dana, with, drugging women with his personality.
Yeah. So Beverly goes back to the ship. Ronan says he can go back to the ship with her and says that he can make himself a beam or something and get back to the ship.
He said he's going to ride up the beam that they're shooting down at the weather station. Come on, Dana. This is so freaking hokey.
And again, I was like, kind of half listening, half not, because it's like I'm just waiting for the sex scenes.
Well, and you were also like, tripping on Oomka, Dana.
Well, tell you, if they were going to be a sponsor, they're not going to be now. But so she goes to the ship and she locks her door. Then she lights the candle and she sets the candle and she is like jonesing. She's like sitting on the edge of her bed, like rocking and stuff. I'm like, do you have a heroin issue? Is there something else going on here?
There was something else going on. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never seen somebody so excited to light a candle, So then the ghost appears and says he will take care of her like he's done with all her family members before her.
Ew.
Promising she'll feel love like never before.
Dana, at one point he says to her, I'm going to become part of you, Beverly. Would you like that? I mean, come on.
You're kind of hitting a cross between Ronan and Hannibal Lecter.
Well, he did want to eat her, but that's a different. I wonder if Ronan was the name of like a sex toy in the 90s,
Would have been perfect. Later, we see Beverly standing on the transporter.
With like a bunch of bags, right?
Yeah, and she's like in normal civilian garb and stuff.
Yeah.
And Picard comes in and goes, Beverly, what are you doing now?
Wow, Dana, that's really good. Hold on. Do that again. That was really good.
She says she can't, she's resigned. And he's like, you can't just resign. And then they keep talking and she says, I'm going down there and there's nothing you can do stop me because I resigned.
Well, hold on a second. I got a question for you, Dana. I don't remember this now, but did he and Beverly have a thing? Like, were they romantically involved, or was he just like, interested in her, or was he Wesley's father potentially?
No, but there was a relationship. I think somewhere in one of the seasons they consummate that relationship. For the most part, he's like, I'm the captain of the ship and I can't be having sex with my crew. What do I look like, Jim Kirk?
Beverly, I'd like to introduce you to my friend called Earl Grey. Hot. Is that an Earl Grey in my pants, or am I just happy to see me? Oh, wait, see me? Are you happy to... God, wow. See, again, this dialogue is at least as good as what was in the episode, Dana. Come on.
So she just says, energize, and she gets transported to the planet.
He doesn't know about Ronan yet, though, does he?
No. But the next scene, Troy spills the beans on this Ronan character. She says, I think it's, brought on by stress and grief. And Picard's like, I've got something she can stress over about. But yeah.
And if she doesn't come back to the ship, how about you, Troy? I need some counseling. Shall I lie on the couch or shall I just stand here?
So then Data explains the source of the energy that killed Ned seems to be coming from the cemetery.
Of course, Dana. Of course it's coming from this freaking cemetery.
But get this, the readings are originating 2 meters below the surface.
2 meters? That's almost, I don't know, 2 meters. 6 feet, Dana.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Beverly is playing house with the ghost. And it's a dirty house.
Dana, it wasn't even subtle. He's corporeal at one point, and then he turns into this green mist and kind of just infuses with her, right?
Yeah.
And then she's sitting like on the chair and throwing her head back, and her legs are moving around. And I was like, am I actually seeing this? Is this really what is happening here? Or did I drink too much Umqua this morning, or whatever that's called? Beverly, I think I've gotten lost in here. Oh, wait, that was kind of a ghosty Picard.
So she tells Ronan she loves him. And then Picard stops by to see her. He knocks on the door And then when she doesn't answer because she's in the middle of orgasm 472, he comes in. She's sitting in the chair. I'm thinking she's about ready to light a cigarette.
Yep.
Picard tries to talk some sense into her and says, he wants to meet this Ronan character.
I'd like to meet this beau of yours. Maybe we can have a threesome. Or as we call it in my home country, since I am French, a ménage à trois. Wait, is he French or freaking English, Dan? He's English and French? How does that work? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he kind of hates himself, doesn't he? So it's
because he is French.
Yeah, he's French. He's got a winery in France.
But he's got an English accent.
So Ronan's being kind of aggressive with Picard, and then Data calls and says he wants to exhume Beverly's grandmother.
We'd like to dig up Granny.
Data says that's where the energy is coming from.
Sure.
And Ronan doesn't like it. Ronan gets all upset and he hits Picard with an energy force. Ronan tries to get Beverly to leave, but she wants to help Picard. She says, I can't just leave him. I can't let him die. And so then he leaves without her, and Beverly stays with Picard to heal him. So then they exhume the body. And this is amazing to me. They just exhumed the whole coffin, brought it up to the ground by transporting it from inside the ground to outside the ground. My thing is, why'd they need to bring the coffin up? Why didn't they just bring Granny up above ground?
God, that's a good point, Dana. I don't know.
So Nanny wakes up.
That was fucking scary, Dana.
Oh, I knew that was going to happen. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but her eyes change color or something, don't they? That was freaky.
As Data and Geordi are kneeling by the coffin, she zaps both of them. And Beverly comes up and sees Granny half out of the coffin. She says something to Granny, and Granny passes out again, falls back into her coffin. Then Ronan shows up and begs her to help him.
And he's like, Beverly and Granny. Now we're going to have some fun, Beverly.
So Ronan's like, you have to help me. Give me the candle. Beverly realizes he's not real.
Oh, wow. That didn't take too long.
Yeah. And he needs the candle. So when Beverly won't give it to him, he zaps Geordi again and says, give me the candle. So now he's becoming, mean and cruel. Beverly walks towards him and sets the candle down. Then she grabs Geordi's phaser from his belt and turns and disintegrates the candle. He gets all mad and says, I can still, basically what he says is, I can still use you as my portal or whatever, and
I want to get inside you as a portal, Beverly.
I want to look out your portal. I mean the portal.
Because we've got 9 potential, right? So which one is it, Dana? Is it fore or aft? That's all I'm asking.
So he starts walking towards her and she fires at him and he's hurt, but then he leaps at her and she fires again and he disintegrates.
None of that made any sense, even in the world of Star Trek.
So in the lounge later on, Beverly's trying to explain it all to Troy.
And now Troy is like, God, I wish I had a ghost, because Riker's just not doing it for me right now. I mean, the Riker maneuver is just old at this point.
Yeah, and I wish he'd quit saying, I'm taking command.
And he's always saying, fire phasers way too soon. Way too soon. It's premature phaser fire.
Then Beverly says, whatever else Ronan might have been, whatever else he's done, he made Grandma very happy. And Dan, that's how this episode ends.
So, Dana, you have some information you want to share with us about this episode.
Yeah, Dan. As some in-jokes, I don't know if you noticed, but the gravestones in the graveyard bore the names of various movie characters, including McFly, and there was also one that said Vader.
McFly, Back to the Future. Yeah, okay. But Vader, I don't get Vader.
Star Wars, as in Darth Vader. Yeah.
Oh. Do you know if Ella Fitzgerald married Darth Vader, her name would be Ella Vader? You never heard that joke before?
Yeah, I have.
It's just not that funny, Dana.
I just don't know why you had to bring it up.
Well, because of Vader,
Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah, I'm with you. So the production staff noted that fan response to this episode was split along gender lines. Men hated Sub Rosa and women tended to love it. Also, at an Austin, Texas convention in 2012, Gates McFadden stated she wasn't very fond of this episode. She says, I was basically in love with a lamp. How the hell does that work?
Yeah, good question, Gates. Good question. She really got into that role, though, I bet. I mean, it looked like it.
Yeah, and that's one of the last thing that I have is she was heavily praised for her performance in what many called the highlight of the season for her.
She's still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, let's get her on the podcast.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to her like this. Hello, Gates. Welcome to the podcast.
Beverly, what can we ask you that nobody's ever asked you before?
Would you like an injection of Umpqua? May I enter your shuttle bay? Make it so.
So, Dan, that's all I've got for notes. What about you? You got anything you want to add about this show?
I do, Dana. So the name Ronin, it sounded familiar to me, but like in a different context, and I couldn't quite place it. So I called Damn It Jim, the University, the language department, because I thought they might have some insight. And they told me that literally translated from Japanese, Ronin means drifting person. However, it had been used really to refer to a samurai warrior who lacked a master. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I don't know if the writers knew that. My guess is no, based on the, the rest of this episode. But I thought it was kind of interesting. And then the guy who played Quint, Shay Duffin, he wasn't even Scottish, Dana. He's Irish. Well, I mean, he was Irish. He's dead now. And I think this episode actually killed him. He actually died on the set of this episode. And then finally, Brannon Braga, who wrote the script, he said at the time that he didn't know how they were going to get away with several of these scenes, especially when Picard, you mentioned this, when Picard walks in while Crusher is, in Braga's words, the guy who wrote the episode, while she's masturbating. That's his word that he used, Dana, in an interview.
Wow.
Yeah. And as we know, women like this show more than men did, Dana. That's all I have, Dana. But Dana, you have a little more to share with us about the guy who played Ronin, don't you?
Yeah, Dan. I actually recognize the actor because he played Errol Flynn in a movie version of Errol Flynn's autobiography, My Wicked, Wicked Ways. His name is Duncan Rager. He's a Canadian actor. He was born in 1952. He not only appeared in this episode of Star Trek, he also had a recurring role of Shakar Eden in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He's also a successful painter and has received a number of accolades for his academic achievements. So, Dan, that's all I've got about Duncan Rager. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share with us about this episode?
Yeah, Dana, I was kind of trying to think about what were the most ridiculous moments in this episode, but it would have been easier just to find the non-ridiculous moments. And I found two of them. And it was the opening and ending credits, Dana. That was the only thing in this episode that wasn't ridiculous. The rest of it was freaking ridiculous, Dana. Just ridiculous. And looking back at an episode that was from the 90s, I realized how much better the special effects are now, Dana. Just so much better. At the time it was like, wow, these are really good special effects for television. And now it's like crazy how much better they are. And if I were to rate this episode, Dana, on some kind of system, and I don't know what the whole system would be, but the bottom of the scale would be the Schmitter, Dana. And this one would go right in the freaking Schmitter. How about final thoughts for you?
Dan, if we're reviewing the worst of Star Trek, then this is a good one to start off with. It's a romantic ghost story with a twist that ghost isn't really a ghost, but some form of energy, and he's got a big sex drive. It just doesn't even fit. The fact that Beverly is so excited about being touched by an entity is just weird. The writers throw in this weather station thing just to keep us from the show from going too far off the deep end. And Gates McFadden is good, but the show just lacks oomph. It all seems like it was kind of crafted on a whim, not much depth. But I think overall, it's just a bad episode.
Dana, I had a blast doing this. I love the idea of reviewing just bad episodes as we wait for Strange New Worlds to come back for season 4. And what are we doing next week?
Dan, we'll be looking at another Star Trek episode that qualifies as a bad episode that we can laugh at.
Once again, Dana, had a great time.
Hey, Dan, thanks for getting together with me and once again talking about a Star Trek episode. It's always fun to get together with you and talk about these episodes. Seems like we have a lot of fun with the bad episodes. If anybody out there has a suggestion for us for the worst episodes to review, we'd be happy to listen. Please send us an email at dammitjimpodcast@gmail.com. Or if you want to call and leave a message, Dan, what's that phone number?
Dana, the Damn It Jim hotline is 509-676-6298.
Okay. Until we meet again, live long and prosper.
Thanks once again for listening to Damn It Jim, the podcast. This podcast was written and produced by Dana Smith and Dan Kelzaretta for Ramble Jar Productions. We'd love to hear from you. Please give us a call on the Damn It Jim hotline at 509-676-6298. From Dana, Dan, and the entire staff at Damn It Jim, have a great rest of your week. And, as always, remember to live long and prosper.